Hello, my friends, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today, we are going to visit again Concord and, surprisingly enough, Black Myth Wukong, both in the same video, which you wouldn't think would normally be a thing considering they're two totally different types of games. So you're probably wondering, well, why would you talk about both? They don't really need to be compared or contrasted. They should be for two entirely different audiences. So why are we here? Well, because other people are apparently jealous of the success. That's the best way to put it. There is a conversation that can be had about the points of view of the people we're about to discuss. However, realistically, I'm not interested in having that conversation. It is an overdone conversation. I would much rather spend time talking about people's actual moral fiber and the things they're saying and doing as opposed to who they say they hate. So in this article on That Park Place, written by John Trent, this IGN writer who smeared game science and Black Myth's Wukong calls for boycott of game and previously admitted to hating white people. I mean, nobody's surprised about the last part, let's face it. Now, this is the same person that translated the advertising poster and the social media posts from the game science account that has been used as basically the only pieces of evidence that they are sexist. We've gone over that in a previous video. Realistically, because of the language barrier, there are so many more translation possibilities to be had within those statements than what it was presented. I am personally not a big fan of trying to paint things in the most negative light, but we've discussed this before. A lot of times people will say things to sway you the way that they would like to see you go. And in this case, they tried to use a poor translation to smear a game that was coming out. Whether or not it was an actual attempt to blackmail game science, as far as I understand, that may have been debunked. I haven't really seen any good articles revolving around that. But what I have seen is that they continue pushing with the same narrative. Now, realistically, you have to wonder, why would a Chinese company ever use a consulting company? They're not the kind to allow that kind of thing. If they're going to use a consulting company, it's going to be from within the CCP, and it's not going to have anything to do with intersectionality or anything like that. They're going to make a game that the Chinese government is okay with. And that's what they did. That's part of why this game is so popular in China right now, I am willing to bet, because it is a game that is safe to let their people play. The fact that it's a good game also helps. Now, apparently, Qiu Chan, who was the one who wrote that translation, is upset, very, very upset with the success of Black Myth Wukong. As he says here, I'm so fucking pissed off. This has gone too far. Don't play Black Myth Wukong. If you must, go and pirate it. If you enjoy it, I don't want to know. Fuck game science and all the grifters who are doing this to one of my fave people in the industry. And by fave people, he is, of course, referring to Rebecca Valentine, who is the person who wrote the article based on his translation. Shocking that he would be fine with that, but have absolutely zero problems with what they tried to do to the game. And the funny thing is it's not like this game was made by Westerners, Americans, white people. This was a game made by Chinese, using Chinese lore and being as accurate to it as they felt they could be. One would think that that would be an okay thing to do, but apparently, no. And don't ask me why. From Pirate Nation on Twitter, Jadarina says, man, Concord is really scratching that MP shooter itch I've had for a while. Everything is designed immaculately and each character feels deliberate, from character kits to map layouts. If you're looking for a new shooter that values you squatting up or running solo, this is it. Forrest responds, and it's not too late to delete this. And this person responds, not too late to become a decent human being. And of course, she is a community lead, journalist, producer, director, host, podcaster, streamer for IGN. The unfortunate side of this is, of course, attacking players like this is not going to help the very, very sad numbers for Concord. We are now past the 24-hour mark into the second day of its release. And right now, again, as of 2:34 a.m. Mountain Time, there are 214 players, with a 24-hour peak of 473, with 679 still being the all-time peak 2 days ago. When they continue to attack players like this, I am not sure what they expect to happen. Do they think they can shame people into buying their game? Yes, I think they do. I think they genuinely think they can shame people into buying their game, which is an unfortunate thought process. And of course, over the past day or two, I've seen a lot of people on Twitter complaining about how gamers just want to see games fail. This fellow here says, with regards to Concord, take a moment to remember there are real people who for years have poured their heart and soul into making something to entertain you. It's all laugh and jokes and told you so today, but tomorrow it'll be remakes, safe sequels, and the lack of new IPs or any risk being taken. I'll always root for new games to succeed. Now, unfortunately, we're already in this era he's describing. They're all already remakes and safe sequels and no new IPs. And even this game is technically a very safe game, except for the fact, they've chose the wrong genre for it. I maintain that if they had made this a single-player game with a storyline that people could play through, it probably would have sold not great, but it would have done okay. It probably would have made them some money. But going ahead and just making it a hero shooter where people have to pay money to buy in, they're hesitant to buy in because they don't, well, for one, they've seen the characters. They don't want to play those characters. So they're not going to pay money to play those characters. But for two, there really is no assurance that there's going to be enough player base for people to play. That is an obvious problem. And for three, no one wants to spend $40 right now. Doesn't really matter what on. You have to make a really good game for people to want to go out of their way to spend money on it. And that's the way it is. That's the way it should be. Just because someone works on something to entertain me doesn't mean I have to like it. I am not then obligated to like and or buy it any more than anyone else is. It's just like if I make a delicious meal and someone doesn't like something in it, they are not obligated to eat it. It's a very interesting dichotomy to look at. On one hand, you have a very, very popular game that is doing very, very well. And on the other hand, you have a very, very unpopular game that is doing very, very poorly. And you have the same people upset on both sides for various reasons. And their response always in both situations is, you are a bad person because you don't agree with me, which really doesn't make sense if you think about it. All that said, what are your thoughts? I feel like mine are a little scattered tonight, so I apologize for that. But I thank you so much for listening all the way through. I would love to hear what you have to say about either of these things. The fact that they are so far apart on all sides of the scale, these could not be more different. Let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notifications. If you really liked it, you can feel free to share it around, and I will catch you later.